Alrighty, we need to install a smoke detector here. Here in the country I was born in, we use 12 American wire gauge on 20 amps for commercial wiring. And we're going to come out of this outlet here and go up here, and we're going to install a smoke detector. Okay, so this type of MC cable has the preset bushing in it here, so we'll slide our wires into our box here. And just box in like that, and we'll cable up along our sides here. I love dropping things. Okay, so we'll open up our blackout on our box here. This is the box our smoke detector will go on. And it'll just snap on here like that. Okay, our tail that goes to the smoke detector has an orange wire, which is the trip wire if you're doing multi smoke detectors. You leave this little orange cap on it since it's only going to be a single station. And we have black, which is live, white, which is neutral. We have to use this green screw here to bond our ground wire to the box. So we'll stick that in here. We'll strip our wire with our number 12 hole. We'll make our loop the direction our screw turns. And we'll get it back under here, under our green screw. We'll close our loop the direction our screw turns, like that. Make sure it's nice and tight. And we'll get our green wire into our box like that. So here in the country I was born in, white is neutral, black is live. However, you may find white live on a 110, 120 volt switch loop or on a 220, 240 volt circuit where the appliance does not require a neutral. So we will we leave this orange cap on since we're not doing a multi-detector. We'll get our insulation even at the bottom and our stranded wire, which is tinned, even at the top like this here. Take our wire nut. Get it nice and snug. I'll look down inside. Our insulation is up into the bottom of the wire nut. Make sure it's tight. We'll do the same with our black wire. Get our insulation even at the bottom and our copper even at the top. Make sure our wire nuts are tight. And this will plug into the back of our detector, so now we can fold our wires into the box. Make sure they're back out of our way. Make sure our screws aren't going to hit the wires here. We'll put our detector ring up here. Okay, so we'll put our screws up a little bit here. Okay, we'll get it set on here like this. Get on here nice and snug, not too tight because you don't want to break the plastic. Now we have a paper tab here or plastic to get the to activate the battery backup. So we'll just pull it out like that. Snap it closed. And now we'll just line our pins up with the plug on the back here. So it just plugs in like that there. You make sure it's seated in all the way and it snaps down. And make sure no wires are pinched here. We'll just turn this over. We'll just set it on our box like this and we'll go down and now we'll hook it up at the outlet. Okay, to make this all easier, I'm just going to cut the wires off this receptacle here and take the wires off of it later. So we'll get this green wire in here with this bunch of wires here. I'll loosen this up just a bit. Get our insulation even at the bottom here. Okay, now clip it so it's even with the shortest one here. I'll make sure I see all 4 conductors even at the end, and I do, so I'll take our wire knot. It's nice and tight. And push it back up into our box. Get all our ground wires out of the way here. Now we'll get all our whites together. I'll cut this wire off here. Okay, so we'll get our whites all together next here. Our copper all even on the end here. Like this here, and we'll get our white pigtail of white wire to go to our outlet, and we'll get a black wire here to go to our outlets. Make sure all our wires are all the same length here. We'll just get them all lined up so they're all nice and even here. Get all 4 of our coppers even at the top. Just take your time, get them nice and all lined up. Okay, there they all are, nice and even on the end. Oops, there they are, nice and even. Line them up on the end like that. Get our wire knot. We'll just start turning it so it grabs all 4 wires. I hold them so they stay even, and see how the wires all get nice and even. Make sure it's all nice and tight. I make sure all our insulation is going into the bottom of our wire nut there. And we'll put it up into our box the way we want it to go back a bit out of our way here. Okay, there's the white wire, the neutral. So now we'll get our live wires ready to go here. sure your wires are all nice and straight, so when you get them lined up here. Make sure all our wires are the same length here, which I got them all the same length. So we'll have to get them all so that they're even here. Okay, there they all are even on the end. And we'll get our wire nut and we'll just start twisting it so it grabs all 4 wires. All our insulation is going down into the bottom of the wire nut. Okay, now we can get these wires into our box. Get them back so that they're out of the way here. Fold it so it goes up here. Better now, everything all goes back into our box. So now we can we'll take this apart later because I don't want to mess around with it right now. So we'll close the screws we're not using. I'll leave this loop on here in case they do another a double outlet in this box, and we'll just keep it down on the bottom here. Okay, so here in the country I was born in, our outlets are polarized. You'll see a brass screw on the live side, which is the narrow slot, the silver screw on this side, and that's the wider slot, that's the neutral, and of course your green or your ground goes on that green screw. So your live wire, which is black here, or it could be red or blue, goes on the brass colored screw, and the white will go on the silver colored screw. So we'll start with our white and our ground. So you always make your loop the direction your screw turns. Make sure it's nice and tight, and you got a good connection like this here. We'll put our white on the silver colored screw. Make sure it's nice and tight and we have a good connection like this. Now we'll flip our outlet around and we'll put our black wire on the brass colored screw. Make our loop the direction our screw turns. Close it the direction our screw turns like this. Make sure it's nice and tight and our copper is under the screw head all the way. Now we can put our mud ring back on here. Make sure it's tighter. Fitting is inner. Okay, so we're going to keep our ground wire down here at the bottom. We'll go up a little bit with our black and white. We'll come back down. Let's push it into our box. We'll get our screws here out of the way so that we'll keep our ground wire down here towards the bottom. We'll push it in. Make sure nothing's going to be pinched. And I'm going to make sure our screws don't hit the wires. I'll get our tight and centered on our bracket here. Make sure our screw's not hitting anything. Make sure our outlet is centered on the box here. Push this wire back a little bit there with a plastic handle. I'm going to get back out of the way. Keep it away from the screws there. And now we're going to stick our, make sure our screws aren't hitting anything here. We'll stick our cover on. Okay, so this is the polarity tester. You can see the chart there, how it tells if your outlet is hooked up right or not, and we'll just plug it in. The two orange lights are lit so you can see that it's hooked up properly.